Around this time 1 year ago, we announced Darcy Moore as our captain and a leadership group that had Brayden Maynard, Jeremy Howe and Taylor Adams in there. Who will be in our leadership group in 2024? Let's have a look. In late 2022, Scott Pendlebury announced that he would step down as captain. I remember I was in India away when that happened, and it was devastating because, you know, we've sort of grown up with Pendlebury as our captain, you know, for as long as I can remember. And then obviously Maxwell previous to him and BenZerO and then Buckley as well. And it was kind of like, who's going to be our next captain, right, when that happened. And a lot of signs pointed to either Darcy Moore, a lot of signs pointed to Taylor Adams. And ultimately it comes down to the staff members and to the players to vote. Everyone voted Darcy Moore, and we announced Darcy Moore as captain about 1 year ago to this sort of week or to this sort of day. And it was just, you couldn't have written the fairy tale better, right? You know, he captains the club that his dad used to captain. He goes on to be the captain, to be a premiership captain in his first year, which was, you know, obviously incredible for so many reasons. And it's funny how he's a defender who's a captain who is now a premiership captain. The last time we had a premiership captain who was a defender was Nick Maxwell. So the planets really did align for us, which we absolutely love. But when Darcy Moore did get announced as captain, he had a leadership group of Brayden Maynard as his vice captain, Jeremy Howe and Taylor Adams. Now, Taylor Adams, we know, has gone to Sydney, so he is definitely not going to be a part of any leadership group. Jeremy Howe and then obviously Brayden Maynard. So I think that Brayden Maynard does stay on as vice captain because Brayden Maynard captained a lot of the games when Darcy Moore wasn't there. So I don't anticipate him jumping out of that leadership group. In this video, we're going to look at a couple of candidates who I think maybe a couple of left field choices as well. But with them at the end, we're going to go through some of your Instagram comments and who you think should be in that leadership group. So we'll start it off with, I think it still will be a leadership group. I can't remember the last time Collingwood just had a captain and a vice captain. It's been a leadership group for a long time. Yeah, I honestly, and I probably should have looked this up before I started recording this video, but yeah, I can't remember the last time we just had a playing captain and vice captain. I think it will still be a leadership group. I do like the leadership group and the emerging sort of leaders. I know last season we did have Jeremy Howe in there, so we had like a senior head with two very young guys in Darcy Moore and Brayden Maynard, and obviously Taylor Adams is that senior head as well. So definitely captain Darcy Moore, vice captain Brayden Maynard. I think there will be two other players. I think Jeremy Howe might drop out. And these two players could be, I think it needs to be a mix of young and old. The biggest question on everyone's sort of mind, everyone's sort of lips is Nick Daicos ready for that captaincy or that vice captaincy role? Eventually, I would love him to be a captain of the club. I think he will be a captain of the club. But is he ready for that role right now? I honestly, this might be controversial, but I don't think so. I don't want him in that that sort of having another load on his shoulders there. I know that the Kangaroos just did that with Harry Sheezel. They put him in the leadership group, which is, you know, props to them. They're a young sort of club, and Sheezel is already one of their best players. I'd love for Nick to be in that leadership group eventually, but I don't think it'll be this year. What I think will happen is I think Jack Crisp gets elevated to a leadership position as vice captain, because Crispy is, not only is he consistent, he is definitely one of the best on-field leaders that we have. Crisp, I think, you know, everything that happened earlier in the year with Brisbane and stuff, that was, you know, past things, right? A great family person. He gets around all the young kids. You know, he had Caleb Poulter living with him. I don't think Caleb Poulter lives with him anymore, but he had Poulter living with him for a long time, and he is such a great mentor. And what he, you know, from coming from Brisbane as that sort of steak nose and to what he is now, a premiership player, I think it's an incredible rise for Jack Crisp. I think he is one that gets elevated into that leadership group as not the super senior player, but just as a player that's is halfway between the young player and the sort of really old player, or not really old player, but like, you know, that older sort of senior player. I think Chris is a good middleman there, and I would love to see him in the leadership group. Now, the second position, because I still think there's only going to be 4 positions like in 2023. The second position, they could really go anywhere. You know, they could do a Quaynor. They could do a Nick Daicos if they really wanted to. You know, I don't think it's going to be a super young player, but what I do think, or who I do think, and, you know, I haven't seen his name mentioned a lot. I think if they're going to go a senior player, I think it's going to be Tom Mitchell. Tom Mitchell still has, I think it's 2 years left to run on his contract. You know, when he came from Hawthorn, we welcomed him with open arms. And since day one, he has always said, you know, his wording has been the same. This is the most fun I'm having at the football club. And he leads by example. He sets the standards. When he signed in 2022, he was at the club straight away, grabbed a bunch of the young kids, and they started training. They started, you know, working together, and that's led on to this great premiership midfield. So I think that last spot, or one of those 2 spots, could be Tom Mitchell, or I want it to be Tom Mitchell for everything that he's done for the club already. That Luke Ball type. Remember when Luke Ball came in, I'm pretty sure, yeah, he did go on into the leadership group, and I think Tom Mitchell is ready to be a part of that group. Another person that I would love to see in there, I don't know if he has any sort of aspirations to be a captain or a vice captain or anything like that, would be Josh Daicos. Coming off a premiership, a best and fairest as well, you know, won the Copeland Trophy. I think Josh would be a great candidate for one of those positions. But also, what I would love to see is, and we did it in the AFLW this season as well, where they would announce 4 players as you know, captain, vice captain, and then, you know, part of that 4-person leadership group, and then emerging leaders. Maybe it's Josh Daicos and Isaac Quaynor. Maybe it's Nick Daicos and someone younger, like, for example, you know, a Finn McRae, or someone who has, you know, told the coaches, oh, you know what, I want to be a leader one day. Maybe it's something like that, like a 4 main person leadership group, and 2 like emerging. They do, you know, whatever it may be. They run like sessions with other young players or whatever. So maybe it's a 4 and 2 sort of thing. But my 4 going into 2024 would be Darcy Moore, obviously, Braden Maynard, Jack Crisp, and Tom Mitchell. That's my 4-man leadership group prediction. Now, in the comments on Instagram, I asked you guys, who do you think will be in our leadership group? And names coming out of everywhere. Isaac Quaynor, Josh Daicos, Nick Daicos. I saw a John Noble. I saw a couple of Nathan Murphy, which is very left field. I don't know where they come from. I don't know if he's ever wanted to be, but, you know, we love a left field submission here. So it's sort of those guys. You can see Quaynor, Josh Daicos. It's the same sort of names that keep getting mentioned, because they're the ones that we look to as on-field leaders. And honestly, it doesn't matter who they have in this leadership group. Every single one of these players is a leader, whether it's in their own position or when they come back on the bench. That's the sort of synergy that this group has. But anyway, those have been my quick thoughts on who I think will be in the leadership group. Who do you think? Leave your comments and thoughts down below. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, stay best. And until next time, double shaggers, I'll see you later.